What is going on, everyone? I am the Yu-Gi-Oh scrub, but you all can call me Bailey, and I have two very important questions for you today. Very first one is marry, and starts with an F, a sound, with Agent of Creation Venus, Wanda from Fairly Odd Parents, and the fairy godmother from Shrek 2. Marry, you guys know the words, I'm sure most of you probably do, but yeah, of those three, what would it be? And question number 2, what do you guys think of the hat format video I did the other day? I want to play some hat format. I've been seeing some videos. I wanted to play Dark World. It was my pet deck. That was like when I was really into getting back into competitive Yu-Gi-Oh! Not that I'm like super competitive and like go to tournaments or anything, but like that was when I was enjoying it and decided to come back from my long hiatus because I was like, I don't care if I'm a quote-unquote nerd. I embraced it. But today we are playing with this deck. Well, actually, I won't lie. I did one of my classic Yu-Gi-Oh! Scrub blunders. I didn't have my mic plugged in. Unfortunately, the way my computer's set up right now, I unplugged it for my headphones, completely forgot about that, so then I recorded 17 minutes in 2 matches without actually, talking. It was just silence. So we fixed that, and we're going to be looking at the replays. Depending on how fast they go, then I will actually play with the deck. But it's a pretty fun deck. I saw a Fairy burn using Solar Ray, which is a really interesting card, because with Agent of Creation Venus, special summoning 3 Mystic Shine Ball tokens, you can then do 2,400 damage with Solar Ray, which is a very powerful burn card. 2,400 is nothing to scoff at, especially if you get 3. I mean, I've tried to make Inferno Fire Blast Red Eyes burn decks just because that card is so good. This card might be even easier to get off. Also, it doesn't just rely on Agent of Creation Venus, because it's just light monsters. It's not fairies or anything. Not light fairies, it's just light monsters. But of course, all our lights besides DD Warrior Lady are fairies, but we have 3 Shining Angel, Double Soul of Purity and Light. The thought process behind the deck was obviously get the tokens on the field, use Solar Ray, but what can you do with the tokens? Because you're not going to just use them for Solar Ray. Well, they're great creature swap targets, obviously. They're small little vanillas, just give one to your opponent. And then if we're running creature swap, the Shining Angels work perfectly. And then we also got Giant Germs, because it kind of fits into that burn theme. And then as well as the Mystic Tomato and Sangan, Sinister Serpent, other cards can work as creature swap. But the Recruiter package, along with the Mystic Shine Balls, they kind of act like scapegoat tokens, like if you're going to run a creature swap goat control deck. And yeah, that's kind of the thought process behind it. The Soul of Purity, Light, and BLS just act as big boss monsters you can special summon pretty much for free. Magic Cylinder next to burn card. The only other cards, though, that we didn't actually see them in the replays, maybe we'll see them if we do play a match after, that are kind of interesting are the Level Limit Area B and Gravity Bind, because Agent of Creation Venus is a level 3 1600 beater, which is pretty big for a level 3. So it's kind of interesting because it can get over stuff, especially under like Area B if you're putting like, I don't know, warriors to defense position. Gravity Bind's a little worse because your opponent can just sit on a higher attack monster, even if they can't attack. But yeah, this is the deck, and let's go ahead and look at the replays that we have with them. So I'm not going to show the hands. Maybe I will for, moments. I'll also click this button for your viewing pleasure, and I have to do my thing. I hope you're having a fantastic day. If you're not having a fantastic day, go and make it a fantastic day, and then come back and watch this video. I was at the gym earlier. It was a pretty good lift. It's been a good day today. A pretty quick day at work, but let's talk about some Yu-Gi-Oh! All right. Our opening hand was Giant Germ, Solar Ray, Agent of Creation Venus, Mystical Shine Ball, and Nobleman of Crossout. So obviously if you're seeing Shine Ball in your open hand, not great, but it doesn't really matter because we have the Solar Ray. And I mean, it matters. It's just one card less that we're going to have for advantage. But like, we're going to special summon it out because the 500 we pay to get it out of our hand becomes 2,400 or 600 more damage. So we did win the Rock, Paper, Scissors, and we draw a Shining Angel for turn. But looking at the hand immediately with Solar Ray and Agent of Creation Venus, I'm just going to immediately pay 1,500 life points, special summon 2 Shine Balls from the deck, and set the Solar Ray and end. I don't shotgun the Solar Ray because there's no real need. It's a chainable trap, and the odds my opponent has anything, even like a Lightning Vortex, something that immediately wipes the board, or a summon Tribe with Prio, which could wipe the board, I can chain the Solar Ray and still get the damage. So there's no need to shotgun it and draw or standby. And it works perfectly because my opponent summons a breaker and tries to pop it. Sure, you wasted a breaker effect and I did 2,400 damage to you. And they immediately go and attack over Shine Ball. Obviously, it just makes sense. And they set 1 back row and end. This is where I get pretty spicy. So my thought process here, with Mirror Force in hand, I have now pretty solid defense. looking at it, I was thinking of the 2 plays obviously are either, well, 3. Summon no monsters, do nothing, just run into the, I can either run Venus into the breaker and just crash, or I can summon or set the Shining Angel. Maybe he attacks over it, but like, what does that get me? It gets me a DD Warrior Lady that could trade with a breaker. That does nothing. And the 3rd play, which is actually what I end up going for, is with the Giant Germ here. So, pause for a quick second. What do you think the play is going to be? I'll tell you, it was a pretty aggressive play that was absolutely punished by Mirror Force, if it was there, but we'll see if it was. So, we go ahead and summon the Giant Germ. My thought process here is going to be attack into the breaker with Giant Germ, which I do. I was going to take 600 damage. He would take 500. I'd special summon 2 more Giant Germs, which would represent 2,000 damage, 3,000 with the 2 Shine Balls, and then I'd crash the Agent of Creation Venus into the breaker, and I'd do 3,000 damage. He would have been at 51 because of the 500 from Giant Germ, so I would put him at 21, plus another 1,000 with the 2 Giant Germs on field if he attacks over them. So, I mean, that's getting him pretty low life points right away. But, unfortunately, he Ring of Destruction's a Giant Germ, which is like, I'll take that trade, just get rid of a Giant Germ, really, and I just decided that it is worth getting the breaker off the field. The Venus had did her job. I suppose you could argue maybe I could draw another Solar Ray, but even then, if I draw another Solar Ray next turn, he's going to do 1,100 because he can attack over a Shine Ball. And I can just set Mirror Force and protect these, so that was kind of my thought there. Is just get it off the field, get a free 1,000 damage. I had already committed to the Shine Balls. And we draw another Agent of Creation Venus. We summon it and we Nobleman, and I think, yeah, he admits defeat. So it wasn't going to be game, because it would have been 2,600, and then, he has 1,000, but we have Mirror Force. And like, it was pretty much game, but he scoops a little bit early. And we then go second for this match, or this duel. Opening hand this time, Giant Germ times 2. Never like seeing 2 Germs. I mean, anytime you have running recruiters, you don't really want to see more than 1. I mean, Shining Angel and Tomato are okay to see a couple copies of, but the Germs are bad, because obviously you want to special summon 2 from the deck when 1 gets run over. But it's alright with Creature Swap, so it's 2 Giant Germs, Creature Swap, Graceful Charity, Mirror Force. Opponent goes ahead and sets a Magical Merchant and Decree. We go ahead and draw the Agent of Creation Venus. So the plays I was thinking about here were either summon the Giant Germ and Creature Swap, because I was thinking, it's probably a Decoychi, maybe a Spy, some flip monster. Or I could do Agent of Creation Venus, which could be punished by a bunch of other traps, but I could then get out the Shine Balls, which will thin my deck for the Graceful Charity and still give me pretty solid Creature Swap targets. So that's what we do. We summon the Venus, and with Prio, I pay 500. You can only do 500 at a time. I do the 1,500 turn 1 just because it's simple. My opponent, there's no Maxi, no Effect Veiler in GOAT format, so I can just get them all out immediately. In this case, though, I do pay 500 at a time, and I put the first 2 in defense, thinking that it's probably a little bit smarter to do that. You could maybe argue that paying, like if he had changed Ring of Destruction or something immediately to the Agent of Creation Venus, I could then put this one in attack, because I would have known that it was going to the graveyard, since he changed it to a priority effect. But instead, I put the 3rd Shine Ball in attack, and I then Graceful Charity, drawing Premature, Sinister Serpent, Nobleman, a Crossout, and just get rid of the knock and 1 Giant Germ, because obviously 1 Giant Germ isn't, if we have 2 in hand, it's not that good, because we still have the 1 that will get another Giant Germ, but there's no point, like it doesn't special summon from hand, so just get rid of the extra. It also puts a Dark in the graveyard guaranteed. And we then Creature Swap, and my opponent just quits, which I kind of get. I had taken some pretty serious control. I would have given him the Shine Ball. I would do 1,100 damage. I'd have a Magical Merchant for future turns, as well as like all the things. But, it was probably a little bit preemptive of a quit. And then game 2, or match 2, we win the Rock, Paper, Scissors again. I realized I didn't turn ads off, so I'm making sure there's no ads in the view of this one, but it doesn't look like it. Good for me. Alright, opening hand for this one, we won the Rock, Paper, Scissors. It's Creature Swap, Giant Germ, Tribe Infecting Virus, Mystic Tomato, Pot of Greed, Premature Burial. I thought about holding the Pot of Greed here. thinking that maybe the Giant Germ, Mystic Tomato, something like that, I can thin the deck with some of those, especially the Mystic Tomato can get Sandgan, which can get the Sinister Serpent, which could then be great for the Tribe Infecting Virus, but I, of course, the better play is probably Shotgun the Pot of Greed. We draw Agent of Creation Venus and BLS. I figured that we have Giant Germ and the Venus without Solar Ray, putting the these Shine Balls on the field. It's fine. It thins the deck of 3 Shine Balls, but is it really the best play? Probably not. So I end up summoning the Mystic Tomato because I don't want to get Nobleman, obviously. And I figured that it's probably the best play because they can get to that Sandgan, which can get Sinister Serpent, like I said, with the Tribe in hand is just good. Opponent opens up with Thunder Dragon, and they get themselves 2 Thunder Dragons. He sets 2 back row, which I believe, were 2 Jar of Greeds, but I don't know that at the moment. And we draw Solar Ray, so I decide I was playing very aggressive here. I just go ahead and pay 500, I think I do, 500 at a time. But I just put them all on attack. I'm like, if you have Mirror Force, you have Mirror Force. I don't care. You'd probably use it anyways. I don't need these tokens. But if I can get an extra 1,500 damage with these tokens, plus the 2,400 that I'm going to get from the Solar Ray, that to me just seems insane. Plus, obviously, the 14 and 16, 3,000. So this is 4,500 damage on board with monster attacks, plus 2,400 from Solar Ray. Yeah, playing aggressive is just the way to go. And so we do attack, one at a time. Once I saw that one attack goes through, I'm like, there's no Mirror Force. I mean, obviously. And unfortunately, I apologize. The freaking ads decide to just start playing noise. I don't know if you heard that. I was playing through my headphones. Fortunately, it wasn't coming out of my computer. And we attack with the Mystic Tomato. He takes 14. And once I saw that, I'm like, there's not even a Sakuretsu armor. Probably would have used on the Tomato, just because it can actually get an effect. And then 16 from the Agent of Creation Venus. Apologies, I need a quick sip of water. I was getting a little tickle in my throat. I talk so fast. And he then summons Breaker, tries to go to battle, attacks over, or tries to attack over the Agent of Creation Venus. I use Solar Ray in response. I want to keep that 600 damage that it can get. He takes 3,000. We do correct it. He then gains 600 because it's only lights and Mystic Tomato is a dark. He then double Jar of Greeds. If you're going to use the Jar of Greeds, I would think you should use it before summoning Breaker. Just see all the cards. Like, let's look at the hand real fast. MST, so he drew MST in Judgment. I don't think it, oh my god, his hand was very bricky. So I don't think it really would have changed much, if anything, with the Jar of Greeds. But, maybe you drew a Tribe Infecting Virus or something off of the top, and that would have been significantly better than summoning the Break of the Magical Warrior. I suppose, maybe you were afraid of the back row, but it is what it is. We are going to go back to just showing just my hand. So he sets Nobleman, MST, Solemn Judgment, and we draw Solar Ray. So here I'm like, alright, we pretty much have game. We have Creature Swap, Giant Germ. Giant Germ can do a bunch of damage. I mean, if all of them got destroyed by battle, it's just game right there. But the 3 back row, of course, are kind of scary. We also have BLS not live yet because we don't have a Dark Engrave, but we have the Dark on Field and Mystic Tomato. We have a Dark in Hand and Giant Germ. I don't actually remember exactly what I do here. I think I just swap them all to defense and set Solar Ray, thinking that I can just immediately go for game in the following turn, doing 1,800 damage. No, I try to Creature Swap first, which that's right. I go for the Creature Swap. I was going to give him the Mystic Tomato, because I obviously taking the Breaker could then just pop one of these back row. Like, taking a Breaker with a token is absolutely great if your opponent has set back row. And so he's kind of forced to Solemn Judgment the Creature Swap, which is good, because I'm thinking, alright, use your Solemns. I have game right now with Solar Ray. Also, that puts him at 550. Unfortunately, not 500, but Giant Germ's now becoming closer and closer to lethal. So I then just swap these to defense. I don't swap the Mystic Tomato. Just don't feel like it. And then set Solar Ray, which unfortunately gets blind MST'd. Opponent, I think, yep, he drew the Tribe Infecting Virus. So, like I said with those Jar of Greeds, of course it was one turn too late, but the Jar of Greed, say that was instead of like the MST or whatever, would have been significantly better to have drawn this and summoned this last turn, I think, than summoning the Breaker. But again, maybe he was afraid of the back row. Regardless, he drew it now and just discards both his Thunder Dragons, getting rid of all our monsters, the 3 Shine Balls plus the Mystic Tomato. We go ahead and take 19 plus 16, so it's 2,700 life points to 550. We draw Snatch Steal for turn. And, there's a bunch of ways I can play this right now. The worst is obviously summon the Tribe Infecting Virus, because sure, I can discard something and pop Breaker, and I could even discard 2, but then his Tribe and my Tribe would both go to the graveyard, since it isn't just your opponent's cards. So Tribe is just, off the table. That's not a play. We have BLS live. That's great, but he has 2 back row, which, of course, now we see are dead, Heavy Storm and Nobleman across out. But, I wanted to respect it enough, so I actually go ahead and I Snatch Steal, and I think, let me go ahead, take my plus, just attack over the Tribe Infecting Virus. Also, that puts him in range of 1 Giant Germ, which I was like, perfect. If now he's under 500, but I don't want this Snatch Steal to gain, have him gain life points. So I then use the Breaker token, remove the token to pop a back row. I hit a Nobleman across it. I'm like, perfect. I'm thinking this is great. I'm going to then go ahead and set Giant Germ, because what are the odds that he has double Nobleman, top 12 cards, Nobleman's at 2. But we go ahead, special the BLS in defense, and banish. This was maybe misplayed, because, it gets punished a little bit by things such as a Snatch Steal of his own, because I then go ahead and set the Giant Germ. So if he had Snatch Steal, he could snatch the BLS, and then, if he attacked the Giant Germ, I would just win. I wonder what he would do if he drew Snatch Steal, which, surprise, he doesn't actually draw Snatch Steal. But, would he have played aggressively? What would you guys do if you're watching right now? Tell me what you would have done. Would you Snatch Steal and say, you know what, I don't know what this monster is? Did he see... No, I don't think he's seen Giant Germ, because this is game 1. So I wonder if he just would have said, you know what, I'm just going to go Snatch Steal, take the BLS, and just try to attack for game, because that'd be pretty epic, thinking, in his mind, alright, I'm going to get rid of this monster, and then I'm going to attack for 3,000 direct, and then I'm like, Giant Germ, 500, you lose. But that's not what happened, so he has the Heavy Storm set, and you guys see Nobleman in hand. He draws a Knight Assailant. So unfortunately, I'm like, dang, he had the second Nobleman, he gets rid of my Giant Germ, and he sets Knight Assailant. I draw Ring of Destruction, and I'm thinking, alright, I absolutely have game now. I just take the plus immediately, getting rid of the Knight Assailant with BLS, and the thought here is, I don't know what the back row is, but I can just summon the Tribe. If this is Torrential Tribute, he wipes the board. I don't know why, if it was Torrential Tribute, he would have used it last turn on the BLS summon, probably. But I'm figuring, whatever it is, Mirror Force, Sakuretsu Armor, yeah, he can just, get rid of the Tribe Infecting Virus, and then I have Premature plus Ring of Destruction, which could bring back the Tribe and just, be game next turn. But we attack, and that's game 1. Game 2 comes, and we draw Kaiku, Breaker, the Agent of Creation Venus, Shining Angel, and MST. My opponent sets a DD Warrior Lady. And you know what? I'm gonna actually... let's show both. So, sets Jar of Greed and Dust Tornado. It's a replay. That's the benefit of replays. You can see what your opponent had. And we draw Mystic Shine Ball. Worst draw, of course. It's an absolute brick. It is a vanilla. This is the original Garnet. And so, thinking here, what's the best play? I'm thinking I would just want to take my plus. So what we do, go ahead, summon the Breaker, and I pop. Fortunately for me, I hit the Dust Tornado, and not the Jar of Greed. I try to run over this monster, but it was the set DD Warrior Lady. He does not use this effect. And then I set MST go to end phase. He draws Sinister Serpent. He then Jar of Greed, sets Jar of Greed, sets the Sinister Serpent. He has 2 traps. No reason to set the Magician of Faith. I understand why he set the Serpent. It's a little bit risky because it could get Nobleman cross-outed. In end phase, I MST the Jar of Greed. Fine, I'll take that 1-for-1 trade. I draw DD Warrior Lady. And here, what do I do? What was I thinking here? I was thinking I wanted to see what this face down was, I think, before committing a monster. My thought process is I could summon the Kaiku, but Kaiku kind of baits his DD Warrior Lady in my mind. Maybe he would then turn it to attack, run into it to get the Kaiku off the board. But I didn't know what this was. I thought maybe it was a Knight Assailant or something along those lines, which is why I decided, let me just attack with the Breaker. I don't want to, say, summon the Kaiku, attack into this face down, have it be a Knight Assailant, and lose the Kaiku for free. I just wanted to get as much information as I could, and I see it's the Sinister Serpent, so now I'm thinking, alright, next turn, if he gets the Sinister Serpent back, and then I have DD Warrior Lady in hand, that could be really powerful. I decide to summon the Shining Angel. I'm like, I just have a free summon. There's absolutely no reason. He has no back row. Let me just put something on the board, and he draws Tribe Infecting Virus. So here, he gets Sinister Serpent back, and I think, he goes ahead and just immediately tribes and discards both Demok and Sinister Serpent, which are fine. Sinister Serpent, obviously, that's like its best use is just as a discard fodder. And then Demok, you can put it in grave for Call of the Haunted, Premature Burial. If it's sitting in your hand, it's not doing as much. Sometimes you can tribute for it, but in a deck like his, I understand, especially also because he has a Chaos Sorcerer, get the Dark in the graveyard. And then he goes ahead, so he pops my Breaker and my Shining Angel, goes to battle, then realizes no, goes back to main phase so he can change his DD Warrior Lady to attack, and I just take 3,100 damage from both of these attacks. And I'm thinking, I'm in a pretty good spot. I draw Pot of Greed, so obviously becomes an even better spot. Draw Giant Germ and Soul of Purity and Light. We do not have the lights in grave, we only have one light. So Soul of Purity and Light at the moment is dead. I decide, he has Sinister Serpent and Demok. These are two fantastic cards that he's trying to, he wants in his graveyard, so he can, obviously get Sinister Serpent back and then special summon Demok. I say, let's just take the plus immediately, get rid of this Tribe Infecting Virus, and I just banish both of those really, really important cards to him. And that was just, I think the best play. Opponent draws Thunder Dragon, discards Thunder Dragon. Also important because, now that Chaos Sorcerer would have been live, so really nice that we used the Kaiku at that time to get rid of the Demok. He does this in the weirdest way possible. He discards Thunder Dragon, and maybe it was misclicks, but he special summons one and sends the other to grave. And I was like, well, maybe he's just, discarding and then discarding another, but nope. He does add them both to hand. So, then changes the DD Warrior Lady to defense. I go, alright, I'm fine with that. I draw Premature Burial. I then summon the DD Warrior Lady and think, alright, I'll just get rid of those monsters in your graveyard. We trade DD Warrior Ladies. That's another light that he doesn't have. And we just get rid of a Thunder Dragon and Tribe Infecting Virus. So any Premature Burial that he draws is dead. He gets another Magician of Faith, and he just quits. And granted, he was bricking pretty hard, but it is what it is. And unfortunately, guys, I do think I'm not going to record a match right now. I apologize, because I like live matches more than replays. But I'm just going to have to leave it there. So thank you all for watching. I am the YuGiOh Scrub, and goodbye.